This bike right here is called the DTTZH F6, and it looks pretty much just like every single other moped style e-bike that you've ever seen, but it has one little secret. Okay, so actually two little secrets. So the first one is this 2000 watt peak hub motor here in the rear, and they say that this thing can get up to 40 miles an hour on throttle only. And the second secret is the price. Right now they have this thing listed for only $849, which for these specs is actually pretty crazy. The F6 actually comes really well equipped for that price. Besides the 2000 watt hub motor in the rear, you get a 48 volt, 25 amp hour battery up here in the middle, and they claim you get about 30 miles of range on throttle only, and I actually believe that. And if you do need more power than this, they do have a 60 volt version of this bike with a 5000 watt hub motor in the rear if you're really trying to get some range and speed out of this thing. So not only do you get a really big battery and some good range on this bike, but you also get some other nice things on here like DOT brakes. You get a headlight and a built-in horn. You also have turn signals on the rear and a beautiful color display here with a ton of information. You get 7 Shimano gears, a quarter twist throttle, full suspension front and rear. And you also get a really nice built-in taillight that is a brake light and it also has turn signals. And you also get this really nice cushy brown seat on here which matches the silver paint really nicely. They also have a black version of this and a red version of this, which honestly I wish I would have got the red version. And of course this does have pedals too. You can pedal this thing if you want, and it's not the worst feeling pedaling that I've had on a moped style bike, but you don't want to buy a moped style bike really to pedal this thing specifically. That rear suspension feels pretty good, although I can't really tell if it's the seat absorbing a lot of the bumps or if it's actually the spring in the back. And in the box they also included this phone holder here, which actually doesn't feel like cheap crap. They also included this bag here, which you can put up on the top of the frame right here. And then they gave me some sunglasses here, which is an interesting option. We'll start her up with our little NFC key tag thing here. Just tap it on the screen and take it out for a ride. The nice thing about this too is it has a password on there, so if you lose the key tag, you're not totally out of luck. The bat, it does feel pretty good. Screen's definitely a little bit optimistic here on the built-in speedometer. It's saying 35.6 and we're only going 30 miles an hour according to our GPS on here. Speedometer is a little bit off. Taking this thing off-road, since they say this is an off-road bike, it actually feels pretty good. It's not a dirt bike, but the suspension can kind of handle these bumps and everything. I think this seat is taking most of the brunt of the bumps on here, but I mean this thing it's kind of impressive for a little bike like this for 850 bucks. That's crazy. I'm definitely treating it way worse than you should. Oh my god, it's a vulture or something. That bird was huge. You definitely shouldn't be treating this thing like a crazy dirt bike or anything, because that is not what this bike is for, but you can take it off-road on these grassy trails like this and it feels really, really good. So this is a 2000 watt motor peak on this thing, so we'll try and take this up a hill here. I'm not expecting it to really get up under its own power. Just flooring it from the bottom. Yeah, it is not getting up this hill. We'll go up it sideways so we can make it up. Even though this is a really powerful hub motor bike, it's still not gonna climb hills. 2000 watts is kind of like the new average for e-bikes, especially since you can get this thing for 850 bucks. And going down this big bump here, suspension's actually really good on this thing. I'm impressed. I think the seat definitely helps out a lot. This is a really comfortable, cushy seat on here. The brakes on here are awesome. They're more than you'll ever need on a bike with this much power. They're honestly overkill for this thing. I feel like a lot of bikes, they either come with overkill brakes or brakes that aren't like powerful enough for the bike. There's really no in between. There's been very few bikes where I've been like, yeah, this is adequate. On the road, it feels nice. It feels like most other moped style e-bikes. Handles pretty well. You got a good amount of power. I did notice that there is a little bit of like a kick when you mash the throttle like that. It kind of kicks you. For 850 bucks, this obviously isn't going to be the most refined e-bike ever, but really this thing is about affordable power. And this thing is pretty quick and powerful for what it is. This screen is super nice. It's really easy to read it in the daylight like this. We're going to use our turn signal up here to let this car know that we're turning. And the power on this thing is certainly not going to throw you off the back. It is a hub motor after all. But honestly, this feels really adequate and it's awesome for 850 bucks. And I already know people in the comments are going to ask me, Ridstar or this? Honestly, I don't really see why you'd buy the Ridstar over this. This has a more powerful motor, it's got a bigger battery, and it's 850 bucks. I mean, that's hundreds of dollars cheaper than a Ridstar. The frame still also looks really cool. These moped style e-bikes like this are really cool looking, and they got some cool colors in this. The Ridstar only comes in black. And of course, you can't forget pedaling on this bike. You do get 7 gears, and you also get 5 pedal assist levels, but down here in pedal assist 1, looks like we're probably gonna be at about 10, 11 miles an hour. Yeah, this is a cadence sensor too. Just kind of gives you all the power at once, but it looks like the speed limit is tiered on this. It's connected to the pedal assist level. So in pedal assist 2, we get up to about 16 miles an hour. Pedal assist 3, we get up to about 22. And we can still actually put some power down in 7th gear on pedal assist 3 here. The seat is a little bit wide, so this isn't going to be the most comfortable bike to pedal on, especially if you're a taller rider. It's like pedal assist 4 gets us up to 29 miles an hour, and then pedal assist 5 is our top speed. We're not really putting much power down here at about 32 miles an hour, but this thing actually is geared pretty tall, taller than most moped style e-bikes. And something else I noticed about the frame is the welds are just a little bit messy on here. They're not the best quality. This is a steel frame bike, so it should be strong enough and everything, but I was just testing this out on the off-road section. I really wouldn't trust this thing as an actual dirt bike or a bike where I'm going to be taking this off at jumps and on really, really rough terrain, but it'll be able to handle some light off-roading and the bumps in the road and all that. The design on this bike is awesome too. I mean, it's a moped style e-bike. If you've seen one, you've seen them all pretty much. It looks like a retro little bike, especially with this brown seat right here. It just looks really, really good. I can't complain about the styling. I really love how this thing looks, and really, in my opinion, I'm liking this thing a lot so far, and I've had a lot of fun out here on my test drive. I've gone about 9 miles right now, and we're still at like 97% battery. This display isn't very accurate with its battery percentage reading, so just take that into consideration, but with a huge 25 amp hour battery, we can get plenty of range on here. Like I said, we should be able to get at least 30 miles an hour easily. So I gotta say, I really do like this bike so far. I think it is an amazing value bike. It's probably the best value moped style e-bike that I've ever tested out. You know, as long as this thing can last a while. And that sort of brings me to the next issue with this bike, the kind of elephant in the room, so to speak, is this company. You know, I've never heard of DTTZH before, and I don't really think that they are a company that's been around very long. And they did send me this bike out to test. Everything went well with that. They were very attentive. But as far as how they treat regular customers, really you got to take that into consideration when you're buying a bike like this. You can get really good deals from companies like this where you have really, really good specs for a really cheap price, but just keep in mind that after sales support, customer service and everything, that's important too. And I can't speak to exactly how their customer service is because I haven't had to go through it, but just keep that in mind if you buy this bike. You know, they didn't pay me to say anything good about them. They just sent me the bike to test out and give you my honest opinion on. If you are thinking, you know, that seems like a really good bike, but what's the catch? That might be the catch, is the customer service and after sales support. If you do want to pick one of these bikes up, you can use my link in the description. That link of course does help support the channel. I do get a small commission if you buy through that link, but it helps support the channel and it keeps me out here riding these bikes and telling you guys what's good and what's not and what to look out for. It's off 31 right there, so that's the highest top speed I've gotten so far on this bike. The speedometer built in is saying 35.6 miles an hour. I did have one little hiccup with the brakes on this bike. I had to bleed them, and now they're starting to feel even better, but from the factory they were a little bit squishy. This one actually went all the way down to the grip, and I thought I was gonna have to like replace the fluid or something in there, but I ended up just bleeding both of them, and now they feel really, really good. They're nice and strong, they're nice and stiff, and they feel like they should. But just keep that in mind if you do buy this bike. You might want to bleed the brakes, and that goes with any e-bike really, but they're nice and easy on this style because they have a little reservoir up here, so you just take the lid off and you can bleed them like that. Well, that was my day with the DTTZH F6. One of the weirdest names for an e-bike ever, but honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised with this bike. You got a bunch of power, you've got a really, really big battery, and a small price tag. $850 for all this is almost too good to be true. But overall, I'm very happy with this bike. You get some awesome features. I was really impressed with the brakes. Really nice headlight on here. The screen is always awesome. I love that screen. Seat was really comfortable. Suspension was really comfortable. You guys saw we took this thing off-road a little bit. A few things that I didn't really like about this bike was the front suspension on here isn't really that soft. The rear suspension and the rear seat feel fine and they make up for it, but the front suspension could be a little bit softer. Also, there were a few little questionable welds on that frame. I think it should be strong enough for just riding it around on the street and everything, but if you're gonna be taking this off jumps, which I don't recommend that you do anyways, then you might have to worry about it then. But I have seriously been impressed with the F6 here. So if you guys are interested, I will leave the link in the description like I said. Hope this helped you guys out, and I'll see you all in the next video. DTTZH F6. They couldn't just call it the Falcon or something?